at Ace Soldiers. The company that I work for is in conference this week, so I woke up an extra hour and a half early to be able to make it to the first of the meetings because they're all virtual, but they're in different time zones. So I watched 6 straight hours of presentations and then freaked out because I had my own presentation to give, quickly did my hair, did my makeup, logged on, got my whole setup ready, and just before I was about to go on, I realized that my presentation is actually tomorrow. And the stress of that, I think, is enough reason to crack open a cold one. Oh, that one exploded. Cheers. But hey, that means that here I am with an hour off of work, already giving face. So, you know, let's film a video. In the last few weeks, I have made some questionable financial decisions. That's right, girls, gays, and theys, and it's time for a book haul. Now, I frequently work with publishers and have had a bunch of advanced copies in my previous hauls, but today's video is only books that I have bought myself with my own hard-earned money dollars. Only except for one, but that's because I would have bought it anyway if I had not been sent it at the very last minute. It's hot, I'm sweaty, I have limited time to do this, so without further ado, grab a drink, grab a snack, and buckle in as we go over my latest bookish acquisitions and just have a hot girl summer book haul. To keep us on theme of hot girl summer, the first book we're going to talk about is a new rom-com that I am unreasonably excited about, and that is Business or Pleasure by Rachel and Solomon. I've been seeing this book on Twitter for months and months and months, or sorry, on X. Or whatever the fuck. I still have a little blue square on my phone, and when that app forcibly updates, that is when I'm fully just gonna deactivate my account and get the hell away from whatever that firescape of a horrendous app that Elon is just tanking right now. But the origin story remains that I first saw this book on Twitter, and I'm so excited to have little grubby paws on it. I also am a sucker for books about books or books about writers, and this is twofold. This centers a ghostwriter who is tasked with writing a memoir of a C-list actor who got really big playing a part on a werewolf TV show and now like makes his money like appearing at conventions and fan expos. At an event, our ghostwriter meets a mysterious man. They go back up to his hotel room. They have a kind of awkward hookup and she thinks she's never going to see him again, only to find out that in a business meeting the next day, that's the actor that she's going to be ghostwriting for. So they strike a deal that is not in their publishing contract where he will give her the salacious details for this book and she will, how this author put it, and she will school him in the art of satisfaction. We can't get no satisfaction. Writers, actors behind the scenes of show business, tutoring someone in the art of seduction. Those are some of my favorite things, and I can't wait to see how this turns out. I have not read The X Talk, which is her other book, but I have had it recommended to me. So we'll see if I end up picking up that one after this. Well, I guess I really only have one other book that falls under the Hot Girl Summer tag category, but that's okay because That Summer Feeling by Bridget Morrissey is about to give you that sleepaway camp magic. I don't know about you, but I grew up in a suburb outside of Vancouver, and there were not a lot of sleepaway camps you could go to unless you were religious, which my family was not. But when I was in 11th grade, I was a theater kid, so I went with all the other theater kid nerds in my high school to a sleepaway camp called Fringe, and had like the greatest 3 days of my life. And now I guess technically as an adult, I can go to sleepaway camp whenever I want to, I just have to pay a lot of money for it. And I was looking into this for a long weekend vacation. Did you know that on Salt Spring Island you can rent a yurt? That Summer Feeling follows Garland, who has recently been divorced from her husband and she's living on her sister's couch. She feels completely lost now that her picture perfect life is no more, but when some new friends of hers invite her to an adult sleepaway camp that they've recently opened, she and her sister jump at the opportunity and she thinks she can have a fresh start. But when she gets there and starts meeting new people, she instantly concocts a scheme to get this tall, blonde, muscly man to fall in love with her, only to realize that she's falling in love with his sister instead. So spoiler alert, I have in fact already finished this book, and you know what? It was freaking adorable. The perfect combination of there's only one tent, but also they were roommates. Sorry, only one log cabin, but you know, still. I won't tell you everything, so I have to leave a little bit of suspense and mystery for my end of the month wrap up, but this was very sweet, it was very cute, and like a little bit of spice near the end. Alright y'all, that was all the cute stuff. Now we're getting into the weird shit. It's well known my hot take of 2023 was Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros was pretty good, but I have a book that I think is going to blow Fourth Wing under the metaphorical air, and that is To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Monica Hill Blackgoose. This was pitched to me as Dragon College for Indigenous Dragon Riders. Bitch. What? take my money! A young indigenous woman named Anakus, who has found and bonded with a dragon egg, enters into a colonizer-run dragon academy, finds out that the way that dragons and dragon riders are treated in the colonizer-run camp is very different than the way that her culture treats them. She's determined to learn, to come into her power, and to change or take down the institution from the inside out. So if you thought this was going to be a fun new YA boarding school romp riding around on dragons, haha, you'd be wrong. We're talking race, we're talking colonization, we're talking industrialization, we're talking knowledge, power, and privilege, and we are all doing it within this beautiful book that is going to be the first of a new high fantasy series. Even though dragons are making a comeback, I have not heard about anything like this before. It seems like a little bit Dragons of Pern meets Fourth Wing. Oh my god, am I okay? And the Nampeshaway set series does include a lot of indigenous words. Thankfully, there is a pronunciation guide at the very front that has it all. Real languages, fantasy languages, doesn't matter. I can barely speak my own language. I would love a pronunciation guide at the front of every book. We in fact have 2 indigenous fantasy novels in today's haul, this one being a sequel that I had to literally fly across the country to be able to get my hands on a copy of, and that is the second of the Halfling Saga, A Shadow Crown by Melissa Blair. Literally, I could not find this anywhere on the West Coast, and I ended up finding a single copy when I was in Montreal earlier this summer, so of course I snatched it up. Sorry, Montrealers, but everything's fair in war and publication. A Shadow Crown is the sequel to last year's A Broken Blade, which follows a half-elf assassin. While going undercover on a mission, Kira finds out more about the Fae Courts and the Fae world and where she herself may have come from, gains a merry band of friends, but also is uncovering her true purpose, and then the book ends. And I'm assuming the sequel picks up after that. So I suppose, slight spoilers, if you haven't read the first book, skip ahead 30 seconds, I don't know. Or don't. Live your life. Live life on the edge. Apparently this starts right where we left off, with Kira teaming up with the disgraced prince and his shadow warrior fae knight person in a plot to overthrow the tyrant king. However, it turns out that Kira's dark past is catching up with her, and she's gonna have to do some stuff to survive. You know me, I love fairy stories. This is yet again indigenous fiction, and Melissa Blair is an absolute delight. We're mutuals online, and I'm not gonna lie, the reflect on the eyes kind of creeped me out a little bit. And oh my gosh, a little extra surprise for all of us. So when I was in Montreal visiting my friend Emma, I kept pointing to things and going, oh my god, look, like a real Montreal street sign, or like, look, a real Montreal park. And oh my god, it's a real Montreal receipt. What are you doing in there? Get out of there. I am ready to dive right back into fairy world, especially since Hozier just dropped his new album. All I've been doing for the last 3 days is listening to Unreal Unearth on a loop while simultaneously devising a plan to go and walk into my nearest tall redwood forest in hopes of lying down on a mossy bower and having some kind of fae creature abduct me into the other world. Don't look at me like that. Tell me that you're not also doing it. Speaking of fairies, I think this is vaguely fairy related, so we're gonna put it here. Oh no, I'm very wrong. Oh, it's vampires. Okay. Ooh, fun. Love that. Y'all, I literally picked up a copy of The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent because I saw it on TikTok and went, ooh, that looks like fun. I'd like to own that. And then walked into a bookstore and saw it on the shelf and went, ooh, that looks fun. I'd like to own that. And then just yoinked it, and here we are. Hilariously enough, I bought this, I think like 3 days before Tor announced. It is Tor, right? I think it's Tor Bramble. Wait, oh no. Fact check. Yes, I was right. Tor Bramble. Bramble is Tor's new romance fantasy imprint, and they did with this book what they're doing with other indie books like the Atlas Six or Legends and Lattes, where they're offering those authors a deal with Tor, and this is the newest one that they've done that with. But this book is extra special because when a publisher decides to start publishing a previously indie book, what usually happens is that the author has to sell through or get rid of all of their old stock, and any purchases and new editions are then done through the new publisher. So that usually means that they redo the marketing, that sometimes there's an edit, and there's usually new covers put on. So I still have a copy of the original old cover. This is like contraband right here. Anyway, this is Vampire Hunger Games, and I don't think I need to say anything more. A fantasy romance about an adopted human daughter of the Nightborn Vampire King who has survived against all odds in a court that wants to destroy her, and to finally gain fame and notoriety, she enters into a deadly trial and has to team up with a rival who's also like a hot, sexy vampire in hopes of survival. Also, this tournament is held by the goddess of death. Swoon. Oh, is this pretty? Oh my god. It's pretty on the inside too. Oh my god, I just gave myself heart palpitations. All right, let's see what are you working with under the cover. Oh, baby. Okay. Book is trying to put the moves on me. My goodness, I am being seduced. Okay, make sure you follow me on Goodreads, link down below, because when I'm done this, I will need a wellness check. This next one is also one that I saw on Twitter, however many moons ago, but I didn't know that it was out in stores already, so I was in the bookstore the other day looking for something else, and I saw it, and I let out a small shriek that no less than 3 people can attest to witnessing. And that is the glorious South American fantasy that is The Sun and the Void by Gabriela Romero Lacruz. And there's character art in the book? You have my attention. Not that you never didn't have it, like, look at this freaking cover. She is the most beautiful girl here and she knows it. In a new fantasy novel inspired by South American folklore where 2 young women have to embark on a perilous quest that involves dark magic and warring gods. Pious Reina is on the edges of society and thinks that her only hope is to accept an invitation to live with a grandmother that she has never met. But Reina is attacked by monsters in the mountains on her way there, and it turns out that her grandmother is this dark sorceress who saves Reina's life. So Reina is now dependent on the Donna's dark magic and she is desperate to earn her favor. That might involve doing the bidding of a dark god who suddenly starts speaking to her. Elsewhere in the kingdom, we have Eva, who is the shameful and illegitimate daughter of a royal family, and though she is trying to be a good daughter, dark magic calls to her, and she's not sure who she will turn into if she gives into that power. In my opinion, the more diverse high fantasy novels and otherworldly death gods, the better. I am slightly concerned for myself though, because this book is over 530 pages, and I think also most of the other books I'm going to be talking about are at least at the 400 to 500 page mark, so I don't know if I'm like building a throne or walling myself in, but this would give me a good excuse to buy another bookshelf, which I want to do anyway, so thank you, Gabriela Romero Lacruz. You are helping me achieve a dream. Do I have space for another bookshelf? No. That's a later Rachel problem. Actually, that's an IKEA problem. This next book is a great example of how even influencers can be influenced, because I literally didn't even know this book was a YA book until like this morning when I actually read the synopsis. And look, I've gotten a lot better in my book buying habits over the years. I've literally done whole videos on like overconsumption and like the book talk trend cycle. I know how, mostly, to curb my own spending habits and, you know, make sure that I am purchasing things that I know that I will like, and I'm not doing it just for the hype. That being said, I saw Emma Skies on TikTok talking about Bonespith by Nikki Powell-Preto, so I had to pick up Bonespith by Nikki Powell-Preto. Literally no idea what this is about, but Emma's a mutual of mine, and she's really cool, and we like a lot of the same stuff, and she was advertising this. So, you know, I gave myself into sin, and I bought a book without even knowing what this is about. But looks like friendship wins again, because this is like fantasy, zombie, necromantic, bone magic kingdom quest journey. And I love bone magic, so I'm glad that worked out. And this cover is freaking amazing! Also, she has no pupils, and I do love that. It's giving Gideon the Ninth meets Game of Thrones, but only the ice zombies. What are they even called? I don't know. I never read Game of Thrones, and I only watched like 4.5 episodes of that entire series. White Walkers. Like White Walkers, but like less ice and more dead. This takes place in a land called the Dominions, where a dead body can sometimes reanimate and become unpredictable and violent unless someone called a bonesmith comes and severs that soul from its human remains. Our main character, Ren, is a bonesmith who dreams of being a Valkyrie, which is the kind of highest tier of bonesmith that you can be, and so she enters into this competition in hopes of winning and also impressing her absentee father. But her trials are sabotaged, and instead she is sent to the border wall, which is the last line of defense before the breach. Then a prince from the House of Gold is taken beyond the breach and kidnapped by the disgraced House of Iron. So Ren volunteers to go and save the prince in hopes of reinstating her glory and her family's good name, but she has to work with an ironsmith to combat the dead, and of course, once they're out in the field, they find out more of a conspiracy of what caused the breach and what their true purpose is. I am digging the resurgence of all these fantasy book trends like the grave. Vampires are getting resurrected, we're doing trials again, dragons are on the rise, and when is necromancy ever not in style? Anyways, thank you, Emma, for influencing me out of 25 Canadian dollars. Oh my god, another receipt! Look, a real Torontonian receipt! This book is from Baka Phoenix, which is a fully sci-fi fantasy bookstore in Toronto that I visited when I was there earlier this summer, and oh my god, that store is what dreams are made of. And of course, while I was there, I had to pick up this queer, vicious YA fantasy that is Venom and Vow by Elliot and Anna Marie McLemore. On one side, we have a transgender prince who acts as the body double for his sibling, who is the current reigning king. But we also have Valencia, who is a young handmaiden to the princess, yet also doubles as a boy assassin named Gale under the cover of night. So we end up getting a murderous 12th night scenario where Valencia is contracted to kill Patrick, who's the prince, but then Kate is actually bodily doubling for the prince, and Kate has put Gale, who's actually Valencia, under his protection, and they end up having to come clean and work together against bigger threats to the kingdom at large. I've read a bunch of Anna Marie McLemore's works before, and I love their writing style, and now they are writing with their partner in this new YA fantasy that's all about finding out who you are and coming into your own sense of self. High magic, assassins, mixed identity, enemies to lovers, the gays. This book has everything. I'm also unhealthily obsessed with this cover. Jacket illustration by MX Morgan and jacket design by L. Witt. Hit me up, is all I'm saying. Y'all want to start a cult? Second to last is a story and a cover that set my heart afire. I respect women's wrongs as much as the next girl does, and I absolutely love a villain origin story, and I think I'm going to get both of those things in The Curse of Saints by Kate Dramis. This is the Indigo exclusive black and red edition, so yours is probably gonna be like white and boring, but like that's fine. She was not a beacon of light. She was not a savior of realms. If the gods had chosen her, they had chosen wrong. Somebody hold me back, I'm about to go feral. Our main character, Ea, is an elite assassin and spy and third in command to the queendom. When she's forced into the middle of a tragic event, her power unleashes itself, and it turns out that she has this dark magic that hasn't been seen amongst the kingdom in over 500 years. So now she has to work with her bitter rival to get her power under control, while also just figuring out what it is and what it means for her to have it, while the queen is scheming to possibly use her newfound power to turn the tide of a war. High fantasy, dark magic, forbidden gods, assassins, enemies to lovers, a love interest named Will. Like, this is just, it's really floating my boat. If I've learned anything from even just the pile of books I'm talking about today, apparently dark gods raining vengeance upon a fantasy world is gonna be a new trend. I'm not mad at it. And lastly, this is a book that I was sent by Bloomsbury, so thank you very much to Bloomsbury. But if I had not been sent this, you can bet there was not a single thing in hell that would have stopped me from hopping on a bus the moment that I ended work to get to the bookstore ASAP to be able to get a copy of this, which is why I'm extra grateful to Bloomsbury for enabling me, because they sent me the 10th anniversary edition of The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. She is reworked, she is remastered, and she is absolutely stunning. Many people know Samantha Shannon through Priory of the Orange Tree, but she has another series called The Bone Season, of which there are going to be 7, and 4 have been released currently. She wrote The Bone Season when she was 19, and she had it published at 21, and I happen to have an original hardcover of the first Bone Season. This is like, ooh, this is dangerous. This is like contraband. I've mentioned contraband books twice in this video, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. But instead of just releasing a new shiny version of the same story, she wanted to go back and re-edit the first book because she felt like she had grown so much in her writing journey that the first book didn't reflect how she thought about the series anymore, so she did. So this is the same book, but it's been re-edited and revised, and there's a little bit of new material, and she's taken out some things that she thought are redundant or out of fashion. The Bone Season is one of my favorite series of all time, but it is so hard to pitch to people. Okay, so it's like a futuristic, alternative history, sci-fi dystopian where people have magic powers, but they're like supernatural magic powers, and it's in the city of Scion, which is like future London, where they have all these like future technology to like catch these supernaturals, and our main character is a dream walker who can like project and like see people's dreams, but then she gets taken into a camp that's run by these like angel people that are from a different dimension, and they're like keeping and capturing supernaturals to use in their own angelic war. So yeah, it's weird, but it's also one of the most unique genre mashes that I have ever read. Our main character is a morally gray little gutter rat, and I love her, but I hope with this re-release it brings new people to her backlist because I love her writing so much, and I can't wait to reread this and re-experience it, and also just have this like new brand new shiny cover because Samantha Bloomsbury, what the fuck are these covers? These are ugly as sin. Only the fourth one with the B on the cover, only that one is nice. Thankfully this is a top-notch, A+, S tier. And I do believe that is that on that. Yep, sure. Okay, give me 1 second. Thank you all for joining me this evening as we haul some books and get even more excited about stuff I've already bought. I love where the trends in fantasy and romantic fantasy are going, and I might also be saying this because I'm in the middle of a 5-day long conference where I'm talking about books that are coming out like next January to April. So I'm seeing the market now and then also like where the market's going, and it's just like, ooh, girl, I love all of it. This is great. Keep it coming. My September reading wrap up is going to be, no pun intended, stacked. Just want August to be over. It's like 1,000,000 degrees outside. My entire province is literally on fire. But you know what has a calming atmosphere, hours of endless entertainment, and air conditioning? Bookstores. Filming this video went later than I was expecting. My curls are falling, my voice is going, I have zucchini bread sitting uneaten on my kitchen counter, so we're just gonna wrap this up. You know where to click to like the video, you know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are having a nice day or night wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!